Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about and show you guys live how I find my draw on liquidity every single morning. Now most traders refer to this as daily buys. I like to refer to it as a draw on liquidity because even though if the market is bullish, I can still take a short if the opportunity does present itself, right? If we have a clear draw lower and we get confirmation that price is going to go there, I don't mind shorting in a bullish market and I don't mind longing in a bearish market as well, right? It goes both ways. So that's why I like to refer to it as draw on liquidity, because since we're day traders, right, and not swing traders, we're only trying to find about what, a 50-point move in the market, if that, about a 30 to 50-point move in the market. So I don't need to be holding moves overnight and finding the external draws or whatever. Most of the time I take trades, I'm just targeting internal liquidity, and I'm only in the trades for about what, 5 to 10 minutes, if that, and sometimes with bad PA, maybe I'll be in it for about 20 minutes, but I'm just trying to find those short moves and those small moves in the market. So with that being said, I want to show you guys this example I have drawn up so you guys can further understand this, and then we can jump into those live market examples, okay? So here's my Picasso drawing, and this is really like the simplest way to understand what I'm talking about, okay? So what is our higher time frame narrative right here? We're most likely going to continue higher towards this buy side liquidity. Why? Because we made this giant move up. What did we retrace into? Well, we retraced into the 50% mark, right? We're in our discount. We hit equilibrium, right? However, let's say market opens right here, okay? What did I do pre-market? I marked out draws on liquidity on both sides. So what do we have up here? Well, we have an unfilled 15-minute, we have an unfilled hourly, and we have a London highs, okay? What do we have below us? We have lower resistance liquidity built up, we have London lows, and we have this unfilled 4-hour, okay? So our higher time frame move is most likely going to be bullish, right? So ideally, at market open, what do we want to see? We want to see manipulation lower, right? Taking out this low resistance liquidity, taking out these London lows, also taking out this unfilled 4-hour gap right here. And then we want to see how price reacts off of it, okay? There's always 4 situations, okay? We can either manipulate higher and start displacing. We can manipulate higher and reverse. We can manipulate lower, start displacing, or we can manipulate lower and reverse, okay? So ideally, we would want to see manipulate lower, and then we can see a rejection off of these PD rays, right? But if we start displacing through these PD rays, then we can go ahead and target something down here, whatever the case may be. But let's just stick to this example real quick. If we were to open low, okay, we swept out London and we swept out a 4-hour, and we've seen a pretty good rejection out of it, right? We start disrespecting lower time frame bearish PD rays. We tapped our higher time frame bullish PD ray. Okay, let's say we get an inversion right here. Then boom, we can go ahead and target longs. Targeting what? We can target these highs right here. Target these highs right here. We can target London highs. We can target this unfilled 1-hour gap. We can target this 15-minute gap. Or if we want to leave runners, we can also target this buy side liquidity all the way the heck up here. Okay, that is one scenario. If market opens, right? We're not always going to get what we want. If market opens and we come and take out these draws first, okay, we take out this buy side, we take out London highs, we take out this 1-hour gap, and we take out this 15-minute gap. We want to see how price is reacting off of these levels, okay? Again, we can do one of 2 scenarios since we manipulated higher. We can just continue higher, and then let's say we leave this buy side up here unswept, and we end up creating like a 5 or 15-minute for value gap. Our condition opens up, and then we retrace into our condition. Now, what do we have? Well, we still have clear draws, okay? We have this buy side and this buy side. Then we can go ahead and look for rejection out of our condition. Okay, but that can be one scenario. If we come up and tap these PD rays, Jesus Christ, let me fix this drawing real quick. If we come up and tap these PD rays first, okay, and we start to see a rejection, okay, let's say we tap them and instantly reject it, then we can go ahead and enter off of, let's say this is like a 3-minute inversion. And what is our draws lower? Do we have clear draws lower? Yes, we do. And what are they going to be? Well, it's going to be this low resistance liquidity that got built up. We're going to have London lows, and we're going to have this unfilled 4-hour gap as well for like our final TP, okay? So our trade idea can look like this. If we hit this 15-minute in this 1-hour and we swept past London highs, and we kind of start chopping around a little bit, best case scenario is going to wait for a resweep. And if we build internal structure, if we get that resweep, and let's say we get like an internal SMT to further confirm, like, okay, we're going to go short for the market is going to shit the bed for the time being. We get our SMT, and let's say we start disrespecting bullish PD rays on the lower time frames. Let's say we get a 1-minute inversion right here. Then what can we do? We can go ahead and go short from here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Go ahead, go short from here. Stops at the SMT highs. And then same thing. What can we target? We can target this low resistance liquidity, these London lows, and this unfilled 4-hour right here. And then most likely, the reason why this unfilled 4-hour bullish gap will be my final TP, because most likely, right, our higher time frame narrative and move is most likely going to come towards this buy side liquidity. We're probably just going to tap this 4-hour, and then we can make our move back up towards this buy side. But the short is still valid, even though on the higher time frames we're bullish. The short is still valid. Why? Because we built internal structure. We have our narrative with this 1 hour, this 15-minute, the sweep past this London high right here. We built internal structure with this SMT. We're starting to disrespect bullish PD arrays on the lower time frame, right? And we have clear draws lower. That is the main thing. We have clear draws lower. If there's no clear draws lower, we're not entering, okay? But since we have all this low resistance liquidity built up, right? We have low number 1, we have low number 2, we have low number 3, right? So on and so forth. 4, 5, 6. 6 is London lows. And then we also have an unfilled 4-hour gap. We're most likely going to want to come and take out that 4-hour gap. And then we can see how price reacts off of there, right? If we miss this entry, whatever the case may be, and we just shit the bed, and we come all the way down towards this 4-hour, again, here's another scenario. We just want to create these A+ scenarios in our head. Let's say we move, or not move, but we leave like an unfilled 15-minute gap right here. So we come down and hit this 4-hour and instantly reject this 4-hour. Maybe we even get like a London SMT. Who knows what the scenario is, right? We get our lower time frame inversion. What are we then going to go ahead and target? All right, sorry, y'all, I just got interrupted to the maximum. But once we hit this 4-hour and we create this London SMT, we can see how price reacts off of it. If we get a clean inversion out of it, right, we see an instant rejection. What can we then go ahead and target? We can then go ahead and target this unfilled 15-minute gap for TP1. So our trade ID would look something like this. And then if you are confident that price is going to continue higher on the day, you can take TP1 right here. Move stops to break even. You can then take TP2 all the way up to this buy side liquidity right here that was created earlier on in the session. And then you can leave your final take profit all the way up to our highest time frame narrative, which was this buy side liquidity resting all the way up here. So this is what I do every single morning. It's fairly simple, right? I just wait for one of two things. I see manipulation higher. If I see manipulation higher, I'm looking to see how price reacts off of those levels. If we start rejecting it, I can anticipate, okay, we're going to go towards the sell side. Or if we start displacing through it, I can then look for a continuation. And same thing if we manipulate lower. If we manipulate lower and hit our sell side draws first and see a rejection off of them, I can then go ahead and target buy side. Or if we start just placing through those sell side draws, I can then look for a continuation lower and see if there's any other draws lower that is that's like a valid draw on liquidity, I guess you can say. So with that being said, let's jump into these live examples. All right, you guys, good morning. Today is 11/12/2025. Let's get right into our daily buys. So coming into this morning, off rip, I see we have a bullish daily fair value gap right here, and we have a bearish daily fair value gap right here. So that's most likely going to be our targets. Also, the entry point to this bullish one is going to be a previous date low. So that is a good POI, or if we want to manipulate higher at market open, we can potentially look for a reversal from right here. Dropping down to the 4-hour. I noticed that we are currently respecting this tiny 4-hour gap. Let's just make sure it's a gap first. Sometimes it'd be tricking us. Yeah, we are currently respecting this 4-hour gap, so that is good to know. Maybe there is intermediate lows inside of there. There's not really much else. We're clearly bullish, showing no signs of bearish sentiment whatsoever. We're disrespecting bearish speed rates, respecting bullish. Let's go ahead, drop down to the hourly. We have these 1-hour intermediate lows right here that I could potentially see us coming to seek out. Or if we just start displacing through everything, I can see us coming down here towards these like low resistance liquidity, possibly even again previously low. Drop down to the 15-minute. I'm not really seeing much. Let's mark out session open, 9:30, and then let's see where our session highs are at. So we have Asia low down here. If we are going to remain bullish, Asia low is the lowest point I want to see price go, and then see a possible rejection off of there. We also have these 15-minute intermediate lows right here. Okay. And then let's just go back up to the hourly real quick and see if there's any buy side above. We just have this hourly high right here. So again, my draw on liquidity is this daily fair value gap in this hourly high. And I do want to see manipulation lower into these 15-minute intermediate lows. Possibly even this 5-minute bullish gap right here. Where is the, there it is. This 5-minute. And then see a rejection out of here. This 4-hour doesn't really mean anything. So yeah. I want to see, since I am bullish, we have this miniature accumulation zone going. I do want to see some form of manipulation lower, and then we can target like these highs right here, along with those daily gaps above. All right, guys, check this out. So I just got done trading. I did take one trade today. It was a dub, and I want to go over it real quick, just briefly. So this is a perfect example of what I've been talking about, okay? So coming into this morning, I wanted to see market open low, right? Come and take out some sell side, even these lows right here. Maybe we can form an S&T with Asia lows, whatever the case may be, and then I want to see rejection off of it, okay? What did we end up doing? We just ended up displacing through everything. So after we displaced through Asia lows, okay, and then we were inside of this 1 hour gap. We ended up inversing that 1 hour gap, and then we ended up being inside of this 1 hour gap, and we weren't really rejecting it. See how we didn't really necessarily inverse it, but we were still inside of it and not rejecting it. And if we scale down more, we were also inside of this 15-minute fair value gap. We didn't inverse it, right? Because the closure would have had been right here, but we weren't rejecting it. If I wanted to see bullish sentiment or bullish structure, I would want to see a tap into that gap. We had plenty of SMTs formed already, and then I would want to see rejection out of it. But we didn't get no rejection. We were kind of just chopping around into it. What else did we do? We left these 15-minute equal lows right here, okay? Not only that, we also had this 15-minute unfilled gap right here, okay? So what did I go ahead and wait on? I just went ahead and waited on a continuation model, right? I wanted to see a condition open up. What was our condition in this sense? We got a 15-minute fair value gap. What else did we get? We got a tap into a 5-minute fair value gap as well, okay? And then what did we get from there? We got a 3-minute inversion out of it. Here's our 3-minute inversion. Here, that's our highest time frame, okay? Bang, 3-minute inversion. Go ahead and target shorts. You could either enter off the 3-minute inversion alone, okay, and go ahead and target, what else was this? Our daily fair value gap, our previous day lows, that price is going ahead and seeking out, or you could have just went ahead and targeted this. Now, if you wanted better RR, you could just scale down. You just put your stops to right above that 1-minute fair value gap, and then boom, the trade would have hit, and we're on our way down towards previous day lows right now. If you guys don't believe me, here is previous day. Okay, and here's our previous day lows. So even though we didn't even hit this daily fair value gap to send us lower, we have to see how price is reacting off of our key levels and off of the levels we want to see price reverse off of, right? If we start displacing through them, okay, cool. Let's just look for a continuation. However, if we start seeing a rejection off that area, we can then go ahead and look for a PDI model, okay? I hope this video makes sense. I will see you guys tomorrow for another example. All right, welcome, fellas. Today is November 18th. Let's go over our daily buys and draw on liquidity real quick. So let's see what overnight has done. We did come and take out both of these previous day lows right here. So that is something to be aware of. I'm not anticipating us going previous day high just because we're rejecting this daily fair value gap, so that high should be protected. I'm not really seeing much on the daily right here. Same thing with ES, not really seeing much. Don't expect us to go towards this high because we rejected the fair value gap, so that high should be protected. Coming down here, we do have this 4-hour intermediate high. And to the left of us, we are rejecting this 4-hour fair value gap. So I want to see how price reacts off of these levels. No 4-hour on here, but we do have this low and this weird wick. We have this low and this weird wick, so that could potentially be a draw. This 4-hour low, and again, if we continue to be bearish, I expect this weird looking wick to be taken out. Come on over here, let's mark that out as well on NQ. We have that, and then we have this low. Can look for SMTs at those lows and see how price reacts off of them. And then dropping down to the hourly, what do we have on the hourly? We have Asia highs. We have London highs. And we have London lows. Asia lows already got taken out. So maybe we come down, manipulate lower, possibly sweep out like this low, and then we can see a possible reversal, or we just manipulate higher at first, which I would love to see. And then we can just ride the trend down. We can play this one of two ways. And then here is London low on yes, London high, and then we have, what is this, Asia high? So that works out. Asia is also intermediate highs inside of an hourly fair value gap. Same thing on here. Yeah, I'm not seeing much over here. Maybe this tiny 1 hour fair value gap, but I'm not expecting that to hold price up just because of how small it is. But this could potentially be a nice draw on liquidity if it hasn't gotten taken out already yet. So it hasn't got taken out yet. So maybe come down there. Maybe ES can go lower, sweeping out this low, creating an SMT, and we can come tap into this hourly gap and then see rejection off there. Who knows? Something like that. We are accumulating right now, though, so I would want to see like Asia get taken out or London get taken out, and then we can see just a continuation on the higher time frame from there. We do have this 15-minute. We are rejecting this 15-minute. I'm not worried, but we have all these stacked highs. So again, if we come down, I'm going to want to see some form of rejection towards these stacked highs, or if we take out those stacked highs first, like look at all this. Scale down real quick. Look at all this. This is beautiful. I would then, if we get this, I would then be looking for shorts. So this general area is like my draw on liquidity, I guess you can say. And yeah, same thing on yes, I'm looking to take all this out one way or another, whether it's we manipulate higher first and do it, or whether we manipulate lower and then we can look for a possible rejection. So, all right, boys, before we move on to our last example, I want to go over the market structure from today and see and show you guys what my exact thought process was. So again, you guys understand my daily buys coming into this morning, but as you guys can see, right at market open, what do? Well, we manipulated all the way down first. We didn't sweep out no form of liquidity or getting an SMT, so this really wasn't indicating for me to go higher. We also then just seen a 28.1 minute candle all of a sudden. So I'm like, okay, maybe if we had that candle come up and we took out like London highs and possibly even created an SMT with it, then I would have been fine taking this 1 minute inversion to the downside back towards these 930 open lows. However, not only do we not take out basically any of this LRL, we also created relatively equal highs right here. So I was still bullish for the time being. So when I seen price trending down, yes, I seen this inversion right here. I forward tested it down towards these lows and London lows, but I was still looking for longs, specifically for the fact that our draw on liquidity was still pretty clear, right? We still had all these stacked highs right here. We then created relatively equal highs. We had London highs and unfilled 50 minute above. And then if we wanted to continue going higher, we also had stacked highs up here and Asia highs as well that were still there. So I wanted to see exactly how price reacted off of this London low. If we kept displacing through it, I was like, okay, maybe we can go down towards that daily low we talked about, right here. Or if we start seeing a rejection off of that area, maybe we can then go ahead and look for our long up and towards, well, all the stacked highs up here, right? So let's see how this played out real quick. Okay, we took out London and just continued farther and farther down. And then what do we end up doing? So this is telling me we're clearly bearish because we did not see any rejection from London lows, okay? And then what ends up getting created? Well, we end up creating a 5 minute gap right here, 5 minute gap right here, and then also a 15 minute fair value gap opened up right here as well. So not only that, but we left our draw on liquidity unswept, right? And we actually created relatively equal lows now with that draw on liquidity, which is perfect, right? That's exactly what I want to see. So what do we end up getting? A pullback into the first 5 minute. Stayed patient. We created another relatively equal low. Then we got a pullback into the second 5 minute and the 15 minute, where we then inverse this 5 minute gap. However, it wasn't enough conviction for me because typically this would be, but we left low resistance liquidity at our stop loss. So I either wanted to see that get swept out first or build more confirmation. We ended up then opening up a 5 minute bearish gap right here. Okay, we got a tap into the gap, a 30-second inversion out of it, and then actually right as I entered, we started to chop around a little bit, and then you guys can see we almost get stopped out, and then boom, 11 a.m. opens low, takes out all that draw, right? Takes out that draw for the day, and then we ended up creating a bullish SMT off of that low, right? So here's that daily low that I was talking about right here. Okay, we ended up creating a bullish SMT off of that, and then what ends up happening? We get a 3 minute inversion, I think it was. Yeah, we then get a 3 minute inversion. Okay, remember we had this daily SMT, and then what do we do from there? Well, we bull run back to the upside. And what could our targets have been if we took this 3 minute inversion? Well, we left a unfilled hourly fair value gap right here as well. So we could use that as a target if we did miss the first trade. Hope you guys learned something from this video, and I'll catch you in the last live example tomorrow. So first things first, I'm going to start off on the weekly. And here we have like, what is this? These are weekly lows from early September that I'm going to go ahead and mark out. What is that? Monday the 8th. Okay, and I'm going to come over here as well. Go over to Monday the 8th, and I'm going to see if this has already been taken out. So we do have an SMT there. However, I'm not expecting that to disrupt anything. I think we're still going to continue lower. ES left relatively equal lows there. There's nothing really brewing up on the daily. We came up and swept, or we didn't sweep these intermediate highs, but we did get a good retrace yesterday, and then we shit the bed. Dropping down to the 4 hour. The 4 hour, it looks like we had an accumulation zone. We manipulated higher, and now we're distributing. So we're probably going to retrace and continue lower. So here is our 4 hour unfilled gap. From there, we have resting liquidity right here that we can go ahead and target as well. And let's go on over to ES, mark out the same thing, right? We have our unfilled 4 hour gap, whatever the case may be. Going over to the hourly. All right, where's a deeper retrace we might see just into this hourly gap? Don't know if we're going to get that deep of a retrace. But with that being said, we also have New York PM highs from yesterday sitting right at the 4 hour. So I can go ahead and just mark out the 4 hour in purple. It looks like London and Asia highs and lows already got taken out. Let's jump on over to here. Same thing on here. The 4 hour is New York PM highs from yesterday. So that's a good draw. We do have an unfilled hourly right here that I'm going to look to see price retrace into, and then we can continue lower. And then dropping down to the 15 minute, what do we have? Well, we have this minor uptrend up until probably these gaps up here, and then we can start to see a little retrace lower. So coming into this morning, I'm going to either look for manipulation lower, something like this, take out all these lows right here, and then we can look for longs towards this 4 hour gap. Or if we just come higher at market open, we can then look for shorts after we hit that 4 hour gap. All right, so the session is over. Let's go over everything real quick. So not really much right at market open, right? We kind of came up and we didn't take out this high up here. We did create relatively equal highs. We swept out everything except for this last high. Oh, there was an SMT somewhere inside of here. We didn't take out this high right here, as you guys can see. But I wasn't worried about that SMT because we didn't take out all this low resistance liquidity. If I was worried about an SMT, I would want to see all this LR get taken out, and then we can then possibly look for shorts. But we just manipulated higher and then kind of chopped around. And then the lowest point I wanted to see price go if we were going to take longs was this unfilled 5 minute gap. So not only did we sweep out these 15 minute intermediate lows. We also had a 5-minute gap right at equilibrium of this range right here. All right, so the 5-minute gap's right underneath it. So if I was going to take longs, I would need to see a rejection off of this 5-minute gap. Not only that, what is brewing up right here? Well, we have an accumulation zone. We left relative equal highs with this LR, and then what do we end up doing? Let's take a look real quick. Still chopping around, and then we finally get that manipulation lower, doing what? Tapping that 5-minute gap perfectly. Okay, we see an instant rejection off that 5-minute gap. Not only do we get a 1-minute IVG, but we also get a 2-minute IVG, and I actually took this trade. Oh, that's the wrong thing. So let's go ahead and take a long right here. My stops were right here, and my take profit was actually TP1 was set to right here, and then TP2 was set to that unfilled 4-hour gap I was just talking about. So let's go ahead and see how this played out. Let's go down to the 1 minute. So boom, TP1 ended up getting hit, and then we ended up getting reversed on. So I took a partial right here. So this is what the trade idea looked like. All right, and then what do we get right here? So we had an SMT at these highs. Where's ES? ES was trading a lot lower right here. So we had SMT at these highs, and we got to keep in our mind that on the higher time frames, we are super bearish right now, right? So not only do we get this SMT with these highs right here, but we also got a 2-minute inversion to the downside. Okay, and then here's the inversion right here. This is also the second trade I took. Here's IFVG, and then we also got a 2-minute BPR. Okay, so what ends up getting created? Well, 2-minute BPR. What do we get? We get a tap into the 2-minute BPR, and also a tap into a 1-minute bearish gap. I go ahead and enter off the rejection of that, which was right at 10 a.m. Right, you can see this 10 a.m. candle opened right into that BPR and that 1-minute fair value gap. I then went ahead short off the rejection, stops at these highs. My break-even point was these lows. And what was my final take profit? Well, those other relatively equal lows right here. So I had TP1 set at this low and TP2 set at this low. That was plenty of money for me. That was plenty of RR for me. However, I ended up getting stopped out at break-even right here. And let's just go ahead and see how this plays out. Edge our break-even, edge our stop loss, right? Edge our stop loss one more time. And then what do we end up doing? Well, we ended up running down towards this first low. Okay. And if that was good enough RR for you, you would have won that trade. And then we ended up edging this low right here. So you probably would have just trailed your stops, got stopped out, and let's see what price is doing right now. Kind of not really making up his mind, right? We had a 1,000-point move yesterday, so that means Friday is probably going to chop around, which technically we ended up doing. But yeah, so that first low ended up getting taken out, and that second low ended up getting edged on. We might go take it out in PM. But that's really all I have for you guys in the live examples. So with that being said, I really hope you guys learned something from this video because I tried to dumb it down as much as possible, not only for you guys, but for myself also, right? I like to keep trading simple. It's hard as it already is, so why not dumb it down as much as possible, right? Just mark out both sides of the market, whatever one gets hit first, see how price is reacting off of it. If we start displacing, cool, continuation. If we start reversing, awesome. Look for a PDI, possible mech model, whatever the case may be. But I do see a lot of people not even having a bias when they enter the market in the morning, or they get married to a bias, which causes them to miss setups, which probably causes them to get FOMO and then enter off some dumb shit, and either they blow their account or they don't even know why they won or even lost a trade, right? So I wanted to make this video to dumb it down. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about anything I talked about or any personal questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. My free Discord is also in the description as well. And if you guys are looking to up your allocation, use code LoeGpa on Lucid Trades. Link is in the description for that as well. It's like $70 all in for a 50K account. It's like the cheapest in the game. No activation fees. Go check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch y'all boys in the next one.